Hi, sister. Whether you like it or not, time waits for no one, and we are never stocked up in a yesterday, and you shouldn't be either. You don't have to sit in your past, dwell in your past. It's going to affect you, it's going to affect the way you see the future, it's going to affect what you do in the future, it's going to affect how you relate to people. So, most of the time, sitting up into the events that has happened in the past is never a good way to enjoy your present time and even your future time. So, talking about being stocked up in the past, there's so many things that can make you get stocked up in the past. Being stocked up in the past includes someone offended you and you've not been able to forgive the person and move on. An event happened that you're not proud of, like you did something in the past you're not proud of. An event happened, like could be an embarrassing event, and every time you remember it, you feel so sad. Maybe it could also be losing someone, because so many times we find it very difficult to move on from the past when we lose someone. We just sit deep into how we feel, the feeling we have at that moment. It could also be an old relationship. You'll find it really difficult to like move on. It could also be that you are the one who offended someone and it's been affecting you one way or the other. Or there has been some changes in your body system. Like women, in fact, this affects women a lot. We get to have changes in our body system a lot, and there are times we get to dwell in the past, like I was like this was me, and like it doesn't make you like you dwell in the past, it doesn't make you move on, it doesn't make you accept your present person and all. So if any of those events are what you're battling with, or some other ones I may have not mentioned, I'm going to be helping us in getting out of being stuck in the past, because being stuck in the past will just leave you in the past, and time is not waiting for anyone. If the world is moving ahead and you can afford to stay in the past. Now, talking about being stuck in the past, I want you to do something for me at the end of this video. So stay tuned to the end and then we can do this together. I can't really say, and I wouldn't want to say rather, that there is just a static solution to getting yourself out of being stuck in the past. Do you get it? Because being stuck in the past and getting out of it is determined by what exactly you are stuck up in. If you're stuck in the past because you lost someone so dear to you, it's getting out of it might not follow the same step with someone who had a very embarrassing event in the past and feels so sad whenever she remembers. Do you get it? So being stuck in the past depends so much on what that event is, the event that happened is. But anyway, there are still some general rules or general ways they can give us to help us to take to lift us out of being stuck in the past. The first thing I would say is identify and accept. Yes, identify the fact that you're being stuck in the past and accept it. That is the first solution to any problem. Identification, understanding that yes, there is a problem in relation to this. When you understand the problem, then it is easy to like know that you have to go out there to look for the solution to the problem. But if you don't even know there is a problem, then how do you go out there to look for a solution? You get it? So you identify the fact that yes, I think because of so, I am stuck in the past, like I'm not really moving on. If you have identified that problem, the next thing is catharsis. Catharsis is like purging out your emotion, saying, voicing out, talking, pouring out your emotions from within you. Talking to someone is one of those ways that can help us to move on from whatever is bothering us. Like having someone to speak to. One of the reasons why a lot of people visit the counselor just to be able to speak to someone. Sometimes the counselor may not even be the real person to provide the solution, but the fact that you've spoken, you talked about it, there's a way it relieves you from within you, and you might be surprised that just pouring out your emotion will find a solution for you already. So talk to anybody, talk to your friend, talk to your family, talk to your neighbor. But remember, don't talk to someone you know you can rely on. You have to talk to someone you know you can rely on, someone you trust. Do you understand? Yeah. So But now let's imagine you don't have anybody to talk to about it, sister. Then you can talk to yourself. Make sure you're in a place where there is nobody, because it won't be good when someone thinks you're going insane. But it is okay to talk to yourself. And I'm not saying think within you, talk out loud. For instance, maybe I'm stuck up in an embarrassing event. I went for an event and I was totally embarrassed from that event. And every time I remember it, I just feel so down and depressed that hi, like why will this happen to me? Like gives me this feeling of I'm not enough, this feeling of oh my god, what could I have done to be better? Is there something I can do? And I know I can't correct it. Now imagine I'm stuck up in that kind of past and I'm trying to purge it out to someone, but no one is there to listen to me. I go to somewhere secluded where I am the only one there, then I say it. I talk to myself about it. Imagine, how can this happen to me? This really happened. Like, just voice it out. Voicing it out has a long way. It goes a long way. Majorly to someone is beautiful, very beautiful. But even when you don't have anybody, it's okay to just look for somewhere where there is no one, so that you don't appear to be insane. Then you speak out. Another way to get out of being stuck up in the past is create a rational idea about it. What do I mean by rational idea? Someone once told me a story of a church priest, not a priest, a church a church person anyway, that whenever an event happens, he's always saying, "If not for God, it will have been worse." Now, this is a man who has created automatically a rational idea around the fact that whatever happens, I want to give thanks. So then they say, okay, someone died, you go there, he's going to say, thank God, if not for God, it will have been worse. And people accused him a lot, like, why would you be saying that statement? What can be worse than death? And so on. Then there was, due to that, people gang, it's a story, it might not be real, I'm just sharing with you. So people ganged up, like, we're going to attack his son. When his son dies, let us see if he's going to say the statement, if not for God, it would have been worse. So, yes, they attacked his son and they almost killed him, but unfortunately, their plans failed and they couldn't kill him. But the son was wounded, badly injured, and was rushed to the hospital by passerbys who were able to save him. And on getting there, the man said, wow, if not for God, it would have been worse. Now, the people who tried to injure him were also around, because there were people who knew the man and knew the son. They were like people around, and they were like, indeed, if not for God, it will have been worse, because their plan was to kill the child, but eventually they couldn't succeed in the killing, even though they injured him. So they could attest to the fact that indeed, if not for God, it will have been worse. So what am I bringing out from this? Create a rational idea around whatever situation you are in, around whatever it is that is getting you stuck up in the past. It is one of the best ways to snap out of it, like move on better. Now let's pick this one after the other. Um imagine doing something that you are not proud of in the past, and every time you think about it you feel down. Somehow you just want to go back and correct yourself. And so one of the rational ideas you can have around such is, no one is perfect. Everyone do the bad thing at one point or the other. We are not perfect humans. So when you have where you remember that past again, and you try to and you're almost feeling sad about it, what's the rational idea that comes up? I'm not perfect, and no one is perfect. Everyone has something they are dealing with in one way or the other, so I have to move on from this. That is the rational idea for that. Now, what if it was an embarrassing past, something that happened you could not control, you felt so embarrassed, it's like bringing down your self-esteem and something, of course, anything that is related to that. And what could be the rational idea you have around that? They will forget like it never happened, because so many things in life is like turn by turn. And sometimes when you think, okay, this thing has happened, oh, everybody knows that I'm such a loser and this and that, all you need to do is be a better version of yourself, and guess what, they will forget. like it never happened. Fine, the social media world looks like it reminds us of everything that happened, but guess what? Even in that remembrance, they will forget like it never happened, and they will move on to the next person and the next person and the next person. So that should be your rational idea in relation to that. What if the event of being stuck in the past is in relation to someone who offends you? Whether the person was remorseful or not eventually. Talking about being remorseful, probably the person apologized or didn't, and it really hurts you. One of the ways to get out of such is understand the fact that it was okay for the person to have done that, so that you can give yourself space from this person. That person might not be needed in your future. So doing that thing is a good way to say, okay, let us get out of the way, especially if the person was not remorseful. If the person was remorseful eventually, there's nothing to be stuck up in the past about, right? But if the person wasn't remorseful and you have to deal with it yourself, like you have to keep imagining, how can this person do this for me? How can this girl do this for me? How can it the best thing is tell yourself, I think it was good enough. She did it early. Now I know who she is. So now I won't have to share other things with this person. So that could be your rational idea around that. Now, talking about losing someone so dear to you, it hurts a lot, and so many times there's nothing we can literally do to get out of that past. But no matter how long you wait in that past, you may just hurt yourself too. Like you can literally just kill yourself being alive, and that won't even be good. So one of the best ways to have a rational idea about losing someone is mostly understanding the fact that for we Christians, it is mostly understanding the fact that this person has gone to meet God, and eventually everyone wishes to go meet God, though in the right time when we want to, because God has promised to keep us with long life. He has promised to content us. So that is going to be your word, and for those times you say a word of prayer. And also, what if talking about if someone offended you and you know the best thing is okay, thank God this person did it so that I can move on, we can all move on like into the future without each other. But every time you remember such person, what do? You say a word of prayer to the person. I hope you find wherever you are. Do you understand? So those are ways you can just rationalize ideas around whatever events that you're going through. If you're stuck up because you had an old relationship and you really loved the relationship, but eventually got broken up, and somehow you're stuck up in the fact that you're comparing all your present relationship to that, you just feel like that was a better relationship. I wonder how how I lost that relationship. And no, please, the rational idea to get out of that kind of situation is to let yourself know that if it was meant to be, it wouldn't even go in the first place. So since it is gone, understand the fact that if it was meant to be, it wouldn't go in the first place. And if it is meant to be, now I said if it was, now if it is now meant to be, that's now talking about the present state and the future. Now then it is going to come back naturally, not forcefully orchestrated, but naturally the relationship will come back and be sealed. So that is the rational idea you can create about that. And now talking about probably you had changes in your body system and you're not being able to get over the fact that okay, you were this before, you were that before. What's the rational idea you should have? Understand the first thing is you're alive and beautiful, and that is the first thing that is enough. Remember some other people that might not be as best in their best body state as they also want to be. So remember those things and try to, talk to yourself to work on it. These are the rational ideas that you can have in order not to be stuck up in the past. Like I said earlier, so many times the things you do to get out of the past depends on what past you're getting out of. Now look at the rational ideas I have created around all several causes of being stuck. They are different. So it depends on whatever it is that you're going through. For instance, there are some times that facing our fears is how to get out of that fear. And there are sometimes you just literally have to run away from whatever it is so that to avoid being hurt over time. Like you have to just move away from that environment. There are some people that the best way to move on is to move away, and there's some people they have to face it. So now I can't really create the best instances for this. Like those that are meant to face it and those that are meant to run away. But if you're listening to me and you're watching this video, I believe your heart is going to speak to you and let you understand if whatever it is you're going through is something you have to face or something you have to walk away and run away from. There are cases like that. It depends on whatever it is. You can be in a kind of situation, relationship that is hurting you and all, and you think you want to face the fears of that thing. No, you can't afford things like that. What do? You walk away, you run away. Meanwhile, there are some other cases that you have to face the fears. Maybe there was a time you were swimming and at a point you almost drowned, and since then, anytime you just remember water, it just gives you this chill and all. What do? That kind of thing. You face the fears. You get an instructor. Okay, I want to learn how to swim. When you overcome, and so many times when we overcome our fears, when we are able to get every laden out of our heart, we are happier, we are free, and we are stronger, and we have less fear automatically. Another thing I want you to know, this one is a very typical point. You can never rewrite whatever happened. You cannot go back to the past. It can only happen in fictional movies. But in real life, you can never ever go back to that past to correct it. So you should remember that, and you know, remember that and know peace and have peace and be at peace with yourself. Now, another way to get stuck to get out of a past you're stuck in is prayer. Pray to God. He's the one who can do all things. He's the one who can help you. He's the one who can help your thinking. Hi God, I realize I've not been able to come out of so problem that happened. You put in the problem, and this is what it's been costing me. This is how it's been affecting me, and everything. And please help me to get out of it. And you say that prayer every day, every time it crosses your mind, every time you feel sad about the event, every time, and believe me, you're going to get out of it. Sincerely. Now, another thing is you have to give it time. They used to say, for instance, if it was someone who offended you, something you didn't expect and all, and they say forgive and forget. Listen, it's not, you can forgive, yes, because forgiving someone who even offends you, it's a very good way because it helps you move on better and faster and happier. If you don't, you get stuck up in the fact that that person offended you, and every time it crosses your mind, you get so angry and pissed. But imagine you forgive the person. It crosses your mind, you just wave it away. Then it's going to be easier for you. But now, talking about forgetting, it's not your job. It is the job of time. Over time, forgetting will come in. But before then, you have to just leave yourself. Now, still talking about time. Healing time for everybody is different. One of the reasons why I feel like there is no reason why anyone should judge anybody and say, since all these days, you should have forgotten, or should have forgiven this person, or you should have forgotten about that event, or something like that. Healing time for everybody is different. We all have different times to heal ourselves, to heal our wounds and all. So there is no reason why we want to rush our healing process. If your healing process is very slow, follow all the steps that I've highlighted and pray to God about it. Definitely one of those steps. And over time, give it time, it will just fade off. You wouldn't even notice it. You wouldn't even know when it's no more heavy in your heart. You feel light when you think about it. Now, having done all this and you're not yet completely out of being stuck, do you know what you do? You start all the steps all over again. First, you accept the fact that this is still not gone. That was the first step, right? Next thing, you talk about it, catharsis, purge out your emotions to someone. After you purge out your emotions to someone, don't forget to, create a rational idea around it. Then remind yourself that you can never change the hand of time. You can't go back in time to do anything. It only happens in films. The next is you commit it to God again. You give it time again. Just repeat all the steps over and over again till you're finally done and you're out of being stuck. Because so many times when we're stuck up in the past, it affects the way we reason. It affects the way we decide things. Yeah, it affects even the way we communicate in relation. Sometimes what is not even connected to that thing, you see yourself fuming, getting angry at things that shouldn't be anything. Do you understand? This really happens a lot of times when we are stuck up in the past and just gives us sadness. Naturally, you shouldn't just sit down somewhere and be sad. No, you shouldn't. So if anything is coming up on into your mind that is drawing you back, these are the steps you should take, irrespective of what it is. And I see God helping us. And finally, to add to my point, whenever it comes back, the thought comes back, don't dwell on it. Try not to dwell too long on it. Instead of dwelling too long, take the steps all over. I just want to add this. Don't dwell too much. Instead, take the steps all over. Accept, purge, accept the fact that yes, it is, purge out the emotions, create rational idea, understand the fact that you can't reverse the hand of time, pray to God about it, give it time, and do it all over again. Don't dwell on it. Now, so back to what I said you'll be doing for me at the end of the video. One of the best ways, like I have mentioned earlier, is purging out our emotions. And there are sometimes we really don't have anyone to purge our emotions to, especially someone we trust. Now, in the comment section, feel free to write whatever it is you really want to purge out. Now, this is it. Writing it out, your name is there, right? And this is supposed to be writing something where someone wouldn't even know we are the one writing it. Why not try to create another account? Use a different name or something and type it out, write it out. Write out whatever it is that is heavy in your heart. That will be at the comment section in response to this. When we have comments all like that, when I'm able to read this person's issue and what she really wants to get over, read this person's issue, what she really wants to get over, it makes it easy for me. Like I'm trying to say, like the next person to be able to say, oh, and this is quite simple. Oh, this person's problem is even quite more than mine. Oh, I can't handle this, I can handle this. And it can give us strength to move out of whatever situation we are. So please, in the comment section, just feel free to pour out your heart. You don't want your name shown? Yes, create another account. Gmail is very free, 100% free. You can have as much account as you want to have. So create another account, comment in the comment section, purge out your emotions. Feel free, be happy. It's a beautiful new time. I want you to be happy. Yes, and that is why I'm here. So I'll be expecting you in the comment section. So before I go, if you have listened to this moment, I would like to take this time to solicit for a subscription to this channel. It's a feminine driven channel. It's a girl talk channel, and I believe that we all need somewhere, a safe space to always go to. You understand, and that is why we are here. So I really look out to subscribing to this channel. Help us to grow the channel together. Thank you so much for being there. I'll be expecting your comments in the comment section, and do well to take very good care of yourself. Bye.